Okay, I want to continue on with some of the Excel that we are learning, and let's learn some new things in this video. What I want you to do is we are in Excel 2016, and I want you to go to a brand new spreadsheet, and I want you just to enter a couple of categories for which you might spend money on a monthly basis, such as groceries, rent, gasoline, entertainment, then miscellaneous. Okay? Now we are starting to create a spreadsheet, and this is going to be a video where I kind of teach you how to create the very basics of a spreadsheet. Now again, Excel has a ton of capabilities. I don't know all the capabilities of Excel. I only know a small fraction of them, but even with only knowing a small percentage of Excel, it can be very useful for you. So just stay with me here. The best thing you could do is if you watch this video while you are playing along on Microsoft Excel 2016. So once you enter those categories, okay, well first of all, each cell has a title in there. I don't like how that entertainment one kind of goes beyond the boundaries in that column. So what I can do here is several different ways I can handle this. I could move my cursor up here, and when that turns into that little symbol there, I could just pull that column to be a little wider. So now that entertainment is fully enclosed within that cell address of B7. It says B7 right there. Another way I could do it is you can go up if it's too thin and just get that little symbol in between two columns and double click it, and it will automatically move the column width to whatever it needs to contain the data that you have in it. All right, so okay, so that's good right there. That's all good and fine. Now let's enter some data, and I'm just going to enter some numbers. I'm just going to think about maybe what I spend on these different items in a month, and I'm just kind of making up numbers. You can make up some numbers for yourself as well. Okay, I've entered some numbers here, and I want to show you if I take my cursor and I highlight this range. Look down here at the bottom right of the screen. It tells me that the sum of those numbers is 4550, and that there's 5 items in that range, and that the average of those 5 items is 910. That's very, very useful information, because there are times you'll want to just real quickly say, okay, what do these numbers add up to? Boom, you can just do that real quick. However, I want to go ahead and add these numbers up. Okay, now don't you dare highlight those, look at the sum, and then type in 4550. No, do not do that, because then if you change these numbers, the bottom number doesn't change. So you never want to do that. No. That's bad. So there's a number of ways that we can do this. With Excel, as much as possible, you want to use formulas, okay? So that when you change the data, the totals and subtotals will change on their own. So what I could do is have my cell here, or my cursor here, and I could push plus, and then scroll up to there, plus, 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 scroll up to there, and hit enter, and now that gives me a total. And if I change data up there, then that total changes on its own. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, another way that you could do that, let me go ahead and delete this. Another way you could do this is put your cursor in the cell where you want the total, and you could push equal, sum, left parentheses, and then take your cursor and highlight what you want it to add up, close parentheses, enter, and that gives you the 4945, and we know down there that the sum of 4945. I think I changed some numbers from my original data. Or one other way that you can do this is put your cursor in that cell number and go up to this auto sum. Click it once to see, okay, is that the data I want it to add? It is. So then I double click, or I push the left button on my mouse a second time, and then there's the total. Okay, so now we have some data, we have it added up. Now let's try to make this look a little prettier. Okay, I don't like numbers that don't have commas in there. It gets really confusing when you have large numbers. Like, what is this? Is that 45,000? Is that 45 million? What is that? So we want to format these numbers. Okay, now the way that I format those, there's a number of different ways that you can do this. If you want to format the whole column, you could just do a left click on the C column, or you could just highlight that range, or you could even push right here and it highlights the entire spreadsheet, and you could format all the numbers that you're going to use in this spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I have the entire spreadsheet highlighted. I'm going to go up to this comma right here. Okay, now some people go to the dollar, and let's go ahead and do that. Okay, if you push dollar, it's going to by default put two numbers past the decimal place for cents. But I don't like spreadsheets that have dollars, the dollar sign everywhere. Okay, I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. This is the US dollar. It's not the euro, it's not the yen, it's the US dollar. So let me go ahead and undo that. I like to use commas, and so I'm going to push the comma. Now the comma by default will put two numbers after the decimal place. Okay, so now while that's still highlighted, go up here to this, and the nice thing about Excel is if you move your cursor above a button and don't push anything, it will show you what that button does. This is decreased decimal, this is increased decimal. Let's push that increased decimal a few times. Okay, see how that's adding decimals? I don't want those decimals though. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to deal in whole dollar amounts, so I don't even want the cents. I don't want any numbers after the decimal. It's going to just be distracting. So I'm going to get rid of that entirely. Okay, and now I have those numbers. Now that column got larger as I was expanding those decimals, even though they went away. So I'm going to move this back to a little shorter or a little smaller column width. Now when I do that, what are these dollar or these tic-tac-toe signs or pound signs that all of a sudden appeared? What the heck happened? Well, whenever you see this, what that means is the data that you have in that cell, the column width is not wide enough to show that data. That was that big old number I had just floating there. So what I can do is double click this and it shows. But whenever you see that those pound signs, that means the column is not wide enough. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that number. We don't really have it used for anything. All right. Okay, so there we have this. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to put an underline on that number right there. So I'm going to put my cursor there, go up to the underline, click that, and now that number will be underlined. So what we have here is the very basics of the beginning of our spreadsheet. I'm going to continue on in a next video and we will build on this data.